Another day, another Clone Wars video. This will be the third video I've made on this show now, and it most likely won't be the last. There is just so much I could say about this show, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So in my first Clone Wars video, I spoke about how Rookies is the best episode of Season 1. Still is. Then I talked about how Umbara was the best arc. Still is. Now I'm going to go into more personal territory and tell you why Bounty is my favorite episode of the Clone Wars, and of course, to do that, we have to go over the plot. Also, spoilers. Bounty is the 20th episode of the 4th season and the 2nd episode of the Night Sisters arc. In this arc, Palpatine accuses Dooku of training Asajj Ventress to be powerful enough to eventually kill him so that Dooku can take his place. To test his loyalty, Palpatine demands that Dooku eliminate Ventress, which he attempts to do by abandoning her in the middle of a battle. After a failed revenge plot, Ventress finds herself on Tatooine, which is where the episode actually starts. After killing someone for hitting on her, Ventress is confronted by Bossk and Lat's Razzie, who explained that the guy she just killed was their 6th man for a job, and if she doesn't take his place, they'll turn her into the authorities. Looking for something to do, she agrees to go with them, and after meeting the rest of the team consisting of Dengar, High Singer, and Boba Fett, they head off to the job. The team is tasked with transporting a cargo shipment via tram and protecting it from cage warriors. One by one, the bounty hunters get thrown off the train until it's discovered that the cargo is the sister of the leader of the cage warriors, and she was kidnapped so she could become the bride to the king of the planet. I'm gonna butcher this, Otua Blank, I believe. Ventress prevents that from happening, however, and puts Boba in the sister's place, receiving the bounty before the king finds out. After a brief exchange with the rest of the team, Ventress is relieved to discover that she now has a future in life, bringing the episode to a close. Overall, the story does a great job keeping the viewer entertained and keeps a good pace. Asajj doesn't spend too long on Tatooine, and the fight on the tram doesn't overstay its welcome either. The twist is another plus. It's not a twist anymore because I just told you about it. It comes completely out of left field, not anymore because I just told you about it, and it's set up near perfectly, as the people who employ the bounty hunters don't seem bad, and the king's intentions aren't revealed until the very end. There's a good flow between the sequence of events. Asajj killing the guy is completely in character of her. I'm honestly surprised she didn't do it the second the guy struck up a conversation, and it provides a good transition to her actually getting the job, which then effortlessly transitions into them going to the job. And the way they provide exposition to the viewer is by telling the characters at the same time, so when they know what's going on, we know just as much, and that's a really cool way of giving exposition. Speaking of the characters, considering the fact that they hardly show up in the series, they are really good. Seeing the return of Bossk, Dengar, and Boba is great, and seeing them get actual characterization, and in Boba's case, more compared to their empty roles in Empire, is really cool. The new additions as well are just as great. If these characters were more prevalent in the show, I really don't think anyone would complain. Alright, what's next on the list of things I bring up in every video? Animation, that's right. I do have a good reason for bringing it up, as this episode in particular has, like, A movie cinematography, and this is extremely prevalent during the action. I like this part where this ninja flips over Asajj, and the shot pans up slightly to make it the focus, while still having Asajj dead center on the screen. There's a ton of long shots making the choreography easy to watch, and the characters never clash with the setting of the tram. My favorite part from the whole episode is when Boba moves from one car to the next. It's done with no cuts, makes Boba look like a killing machine, and ends with High Singer wasting a bunch of cage warriors in the coolest way possible. This episode is shot like it came out in theaters. It's insanely good for a TV show. Continuing on with the action, it really is one of the best choreographed episodes of this show. It's mostly done through hand-to-hand combat, and there's a good impact in the blows. It's fast enough to where it doesn't feel sluggish, but slow enough that it doesn't feel disorienting. The best example of this is the fight between the leader of the Cage Warriors and Lats. It's great choreography and makes Lats look like a monster. So the leader shows up, evades all of High Singer's attacks, then Lats just comes in. They fight for a bit, and this fight is really good. It turns the episode into a martial arts movie for like 7 seconds. I like the added detail of Lats adjusting her footing so she can psych out the leader, and it worked. She actually gets the drop on him. That's one of the best ways to make a strong character. Don't tell us they're good, show us. And this is one of the best examples of that. We know he's the leader, he dodges all of High Singer's shots, takes him out, then Lats just jumps in and beats him. They made her look like the strongest character in the entire saga, the entire Star Wars universe even, and it took them 7 seconds to do it. That's talent. This whole episode was just made to show how good the animators are. I guarantee it. In conclusion, I don't have a good way to end these videos. It's just so weird. I talk about something and then I just say in conclusion, regardless. In conclusion, Bounty is seriously one of the most underrated episodes of the show. You'll hardly hear anyone talk about it. That's not because it's bad, it just flies under the radar, and that's a huge bummer. It provides great character development for Ventress, good world building, phenomenal action. This episode is the total package. I've watched it dozens of times, and it just never gets old. If you want to get someone you know into Clone Wars, show them this episode because it's a great place to start, even though it does happen in the middle of the show. If you haven't seen this episode in a while, go back and watch it, and you will see how good it is. Trust me, I'm not just making a blank claim. I got evidence, and it is really good. Watch it, please. This episode needs more credibility. It's good. And that is why Bounty is my favorite episode of the Clone Wars. And with that all said, I'm Easily Easy, and I'll see you next time.